Yo, what is going on guys, man, I'm Defender Machine, and today what I've got you guys is something a little bit different. Today what we're going to be looking at is the top 10 things in my opinion that I think they need to include in Call of Duty Black Ops 3 to make the game a really big success, just like they did with Black Ops 2, but obviously with Black Ops 3 because that's the game that's coming out this year in Call of Duty 2015. Before I get too much into the video, what I want to say is the gameplay in the background that you guys will be watching today isn't a DNA bomb, but it's like a 60 kill streak or something like that. It's a really nice gameplay, but I was using the Inferno, so obviously it's going to be a really nice gameplay either way because I'm using a really overpowered gun. But anyways, let's get straight into it. Before I get into the list, first of all, I just want to say that I will be plucking things from all the Call of Duties as well as making some of the things up myself, because why not? Like, you can't argue with success, so if you have a good thing in an older Call of Duty and it worked really well and it made the game really good, why not include that in the next year's Call of Duty? It just only makes sense. So anyways, without any further ado, let's get into the number 10 spot. So for the number 10 spot, I've actually picked something quite controversial that a lot of people might agree or disagree with me on. It's completely up to you, it's your opinion, but this is my opinion, but I'll give my valid reason for this opinion as well. And what is in the number 10 spot is no exosuits in this next Call of Duty, because I think exosuits are okay for 1 year, but I wouldn't want to put up with them every year throughout 3 development companies. I wouldn't want Treyarch, Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer to be all making exosuit games, because we're already going into the future as it is, and I don't want to go too far that we can never go back from exosuits, and then if we have to go back to something like World at War. I just don't think that'd be very good. So if Sledgehammer could keep their exosuits to themselves, that'd be great, but I'm not saying I don't want another World at War, it's just I wouldn't want to go massively leaping into the future and then go all the way back. It'd just be kind of a throw off to actually the Call of Duty series itself, just because we get used to so much jumping about like bunny rabbits everywhere. We wouldn't be able to get used to that smooth old school playstyle like Call of Duty is like in Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty 5, all the other Call of Duties apart from Advanced Warfare that don't have exosuits. So it'd be great if there was just a variety. I'm not saying I don't like the exosuits, they're definitely something different, but I don't want to see it every year, so that is why it's in the number 10 spot. Coming in at the number 9 spot, I have something a little bit different here. It's not going to be something that's going to be built into the game when you actually buy the game straight away. It will be something that the community can kind of get involved with a little bit more, and that is demandable DLC. And what I mean by demandable DLC is when we go and get DLC or when we get the season pass, we can actually expect or vote on like a community poll that a lot of YouTubers do to actually decide what DLC we get, whether it's like a remastered zombie map, because I'm guessing they'll have zombies in Black Ops 3. It'd be a mistake not to. It's Treyarch's thing. They have that every year in their Call of Duty since Call of Duty 5, and it's a really great way to actually make variety in the game, because there's a lot of zombie players and there's a lot of zombie YouTubers as well who don't like multiplayer, and it's just a great way overall. So if we could demand what zombie maps we got if they remastered any old ones, that'd be a really big pull factor to actually buy the game, because a lot of people now are turning away from Call of Duty because it's not how it used to be before when it was an older game, and people really miss that. People really miss the old school nostalgic factor of what we actually had before, so it'd be great if they could bring back some old memories. In the number 8 spot, we have something that a lot of you will be used to if you played a lot of older Call of Duties, but if you're new to the franchise and new to the game, you won't know what I'm on about here. But what we had before was pro perks, and I really miss pro perks. Who else misses pro perks where you had to actually use the perk a lot to get the maximum optimization out of the perk? That was just the best way to go about it in my opinion, because if you think about it, in Modern Warfare 3 you had like Sleight of Hand, then Sleight of Hand Pro, and then Quick Draw, and then Quick Draw Pro, and then Stalker and Stalker Pro, and so on, and Sit Rep and all those other perks. I think the problem with Advanced Warfare is the perks are too easy to use. All you get at level 1 really, you can just basically slap on everything you need, and you can be one of those guys who's actually really sweaty first off, so you can put low profile, blind eye and toughness on straight away. There's not really much variety in it, but when you actually implement pro perks, a lot of people will be ranking up and prestiging, so they have to earn those pro perks again for getting certified amount of kills with those perks on while they're using their class up. So I think that is a real big game changer, and that's why I'd like to see pro perks come back. For the number 7 spot, I've actually picked something that a lot of you might disagree with me on here, but I actually want a pick 10 system rather than a pick 13 system without the score streaks implemented into the pick 10 system or the pick whatever system, whatever number it is. This is the reason because if you play Advanced Warfare and you've got over a 2 KD or something like that and you get really sweaty lobbies, a lot of people will be running 6-man parties and they'll be running the system hack and all their score streaks. So when they're lapping all them score streaks, and bear in mind in Advanced Warfare, on one class up you can put up to 4 score streaks on that one class, and imagine if a whole team was running around with 4 score streaks and just flag capping the whole game, because bearing in mind in Advanced Warfare as well, you've got exosuits, and on maps like Comeback, it is easy to actually get around the flags, and if you're running a 6-man party and you're all diving on the flags and trying really hard, it's really hard to honestly avoid all of those. So imagine all the guys in the enemy team calling constant score streaks, and I think that's why the pick 13 system didn't really work out this year, because a lot of people just spam score streaks, and I don't think the score streaks are that well optimized, which we'll be getting into in the next spot. So for the number 6 spot, like I just mentioned there, it will be about score streaks again, and I really think they need a really large variety of score streaks in this next Call of Duty, because if you think about it, there's only really a couple of score streaks that people use. It's mainly like system hacks, bombing runs, AI controlled things, especially if you're going for 100 pluses, and I don't agree with the whole score streak attachment system. I think they should go back to what they did in Black Ops 2, have a ton of score streaks, but only fit one purpose for that particular score streak that you're running. So you can't make a UAV an Oracle like you can in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. You can't make it last any longer. There should be development in score streaks, like say an upgrade from the UAV, I would say, would be the VSAT, because obviously the UAV, it sweeps, the VSAT is constant and you can see where the enemies are going in that direction. I don't think you could be making a UAV something out that it isn't to be. It's kind of like saying a caterpillar can be a butterfly. Once it's evolved, it's good, but once it hasn't evolved, it's still ugly and fat and everything like that. But that doesn't make it completely useless. Obviously there's like UAVs and stuff, and people, like when they're going for high score streaks, they tend to use like the UAV, the counter UAV, and then the VSAT. So if you had all of the score streak attachments on there to make that just the VSAT, you couldn't cycle through all those score streaks. You just get the one dead end score streak at the end when you actually get that final score streak, and then get all the score streak attachments as well. In the number 5 spot, what we have is a balancing point between the worst and the best. So obviously in this spot we're going to have something that balances, and it's kind of interesting. What we had in older Call of Duties was everything could be countered, no matter what perk you ran, no matter what attachment. And in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare we have the parabolic microphone, which counters silencers, but that's only one counter. But if you counter everything in the game, or at least make it counterable, it makes the game more balanced, and then the good players shine more and the skill gap is more noticeable. And speaking of balance, in the number 4 spot, what we have is more balanced guns, taking the BAL part out of the word balance, because we don't want that in the next game, because the BAL is obviously overpowered in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, as well as the ASM one, but that is pretty overpowered, and I wouldn't like to see that again another year running in Call of Duty, because it's appealing more to the competitive community, and a lot of people still play public matches, which is the whole of multiplayer, and if they don't appeal to the multiplayer side of it, rather than just making updates that appeal to the competitive side, the game won't be as fun like it is in Advanced Warfare, where you've got the ASM one and the BAL not only just being used a lot in competitive, but being used a lot in public matches now, because if you think about it, there's not really much difference with the skill-based matchmaking, and that's what makes the game not as enjoyable to play sometimes. In the number 3 spot, creeping up to that number 1 spot, what we have is something a little bit made up, even though these spots are getting a little bit more serious now as they're building up to the most important things in the game. But this, I think, would personally work really well. So if you didn't know, we have score streaks in Advanced Warfare, we have score streaks in Black Ops 2. But what I think would be really awesome, instead of just having the score streaks mix and match like they have before, is create separate sections. So even have like a specialist score streak section, because if you didn't know, in specialist we've mainly had like point streaks and stuff like that, and then just the separate kill streaks where you can just rank up from them. But if you implement score streaks into that type of section, and then you mix and match the kill streaks into separate sections like support and then assault, which is obviously lethals and stuff like that, and then specialist, I think they'd have a really good system going there. Coming at the number 2 spot, getting really close to that number 1 spot now, is instead of having skill-based matchmaking like they did in Advanced Warfare, make it more connection-based. They say they have dedicated servers, but when you put skill-based matchmaking, or as it is stat-based matchmaking in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, because it's never determined on skill, it's how you perform, hence why you can get reverse boosters, because they can trash their stats and then get in really good lobbies and then get really good gameplays against really bad people. But if you make it entirely based around connection, you'll constantly have a server dedicated for the best experience for players to experience on their online gaming experience, which I think is definitely something that they need to look at, rather than pairing us up and making it more competitive, because a lot of the competitive players, even they say when they go on pubs, they want to be able to have the COD experience of playing an online match separate to when they play a competitive match. And another problem with skill-based matchmaking is it makes things like league play and ranked play completely pointless, and when we go out and play those, we expect to be playing good players, but when we're facing randoms online, we expect to be facing random people, because we don't know what we're going in for. But if we play ranked play, we're expecting a little bit of competition, and I think ranked play allows us to appreciate that a little bit more, rather than having a system for matchmaking which is based around skill or stats. In the final number 1 spot, this is just going to be short and sweet, and I'm going to say we want zombies. We've always wanted zombies to be simple and as great as it was back in Black Ops 2, back in Black Ops 1 and back in World at War. So thank you all for watching today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this style of video and want me to do more, slap a like down below and a favourite if you loved the video, and let me know in the comments what you want me to do next if I do this type of video. And thank you all for watching again, and peace out. My